This is the Louie T Network. The journey is long, and nobody said it was going to be easy. But all we've got is us. All that believe is us. The Redskins Report. Welcome all my fellow Redskin brethren and sistren. I am your man and resident Redskins fan, Lou. Thank you for joining me here on the Redskins Report. We got us a new toy to play with, gang. Redskins add yet another free agent in an offseason that seems like we've been adding quite a few pieces, but to be honest, this is not the same as it's been. The approach is vastly different, couldn't be any more different. Despite the fact that we've added a number of free agent acquisitions this offseason, it is not the same as in the past, where it was just a money grab for those out there looking to come to DC. They were just trying to get their hands on some cold, hard cash, and we were giving it up. That's not what we're doing this time around. Talked about this last time we met, that we were running out of options at safety in free agency, and we had to do something at the safety position. We couldn't come up empty at that one position, one of the most vital needs of this football team. And so I figured we'd do something. Is this the ultimate answer to the position and the woes we've had? Probably not, but it's a start. You gotta start somewhere. The Redskins go out and sign Jeron Johnson, safety from the Seattle Seahawks. Now, I do apologize for the wait on this video, but I couldn't step to you guys uninformed. Look, I had to step correct. Either I'm gonna step correct or I'm not gonna step at all. So I had to make sure I came correct to the family and dug up a little bit of information on our new 26-year-old safety from the Seattle Seahawks. This is a guy, core special teamer in Seattle. Actually listened to an interview he did as he was coming into Washington, and he talked to a couple of media members for the Redskins, and he said, look man, I'll do whatever they ask me to do. No promises were made to me. I basically came in the same way I came into the league, as a guy scrapping, fighting for everything I've ever gotten. I expect to do the same thing here. They didn't guarantee me a starting spot. They didn't guarantee me I was going to play on defense. They didn't guarantee me anything. I could be playing special teams and having the same exact role I had in Seattle. But they gave me an opportunity. They told me I'm going to have a chance to compete. And that's all I was looking for. And I looked at the roster and I looked at the safety position and I felt like he was an ideal fit for me. That's what he said. Redskins looked at him and said, here's a guy coming from the Legion of Boom, behind Cam Chancellor and Earl Thomas, two of the better safeties in this league. Hopefully he was able to learn from them by watching. Hopefully he was able to learn by going out and performing with them. Hopefully he was able to learn through osmosis. However he could learn from them, hopefully he's taking some notes and is ready to go out and put it to action for us as Redskins fans. That's our hope, that this guy learned from them and now is ready to take the field and put to use what he was able to garner from those two Pro Bowl safeties out in Seattle. Did get one start last year versus the Giants, had a solid game, and so there is some hope for us that this guy can come in and start. I'm not sold 100% quite yet. He's got to go out and perform on the field, but again, coming from Seattle, a winning organization, he should know a thing or two about how to get it done. One of our biggest issues in the secondary last year was the fact that guys weren't where they were supposed to be when they were supposed to be there. If nothing else, the Seattle Seahawks are where they're supposed to be when they're supposed to be there. And I'm hoping Jeron Johnson can come in and be where he's supposed to be when he's supposed to be there. What is this guy? Is he a free safety? Is he a strong safety? In the league today, the designation is becoming more and more blurred. There used to be a time where the strong safety was a big guy, huge shoulder pads, coming up, hitting anything that moved. Nowadays, guys that play the strong safety position are interchangeable. They can drop back, play some free, can come up to the line of scrimmage and help support in the run game. And vice versa for the free safety. You got to be able to play 25 yards off the ball, but also be able to come up and make a form tackle. Jeron Johnson strikes me more as a strong safety, a guy that can come down, drop the hammer around the line of scrimmage. But I think he can run a little bit, and so I think that he fits that new mold of strong safety that has to be able to run, maybe cover a tight end or two, and still be able to come and be physical at the line of scrimmage. But I do not think he's the answer at free safety. I think we're going to have to take another route, like maybe the draft, to answer those problems. Maybe we have a free safety on the roster and just don't know about it. I doubt that seriously. However, he's going to come in and get an opportunity to compete, and that's all we can ask for. To me, strong safety is either going to be one of two players right now as constructed. Don't know if the Redskins are going to do something. I talked about last video that, you know, something could come up, and I'm going to say this right now because I feel this in my heart. We're done in free agency. We're not making another move in free agency unless someone shakes free as a cap casualty, as a veteran. And I talked about a guy like Deshaun Golston from Tampa Bay being a target. Remember, everything that happens for a reason. And I want you to look in the number of guys we got in the offseason and look at the ties they have to our new general manager, Scot, okay? Everyone has some semblance of a tie, probably with the exception of Terrence Knighting. Everyone else has some kind of link as to how they wound up in Washington. You look at Ricky John Francois, and he was a guy that Scot McCloughan drafted in San Francisco, gave him his first chance in the National Football League. He has been forever grateful and indebted to Scot McCloughan, and so voila, he's back with McCloughan, this time in Washington. You look at a guy like Stephen Paya, and he played out on the West Coast at Oregon State. Well, Scot McCloughan was out on the West Coast with the Seattle Seahawks, with the San Francisco 49ers, so he knows about the guys and the players at the college level in that portion of the U.S., so he probably scouted Stephen Paya very closely as he was a dominant player at the collegiate level, and so there is probably a tie there that he was a guy maybe high up on his board when he was drafting, when he came out and he said, hey, if we get a chance to get him, we'll try to snag him. They didn't get an opportunity to get him, and so the rest is history. He's now a Washington Redskin. You look at, you know, a number of moves. The 49er boys that we brought in. We brought in two 49ers corners. We signed up Chris Culliver. I don't have to tell you the 49er tie is there. You understand the dynamic there. So there are some, or a lot of, definite ties to Scot McCloughan and his background and his past. And add Jeron Johnson to the list of guys that he has encountered being with one of those franchises, whether it be the 49ers or the Seahawks. Johnson coming from Seattle. McCloughan was there when he first got into the league. So you understand where this is going. Again, Scot McCloughan bringing in guys with familiarity. And so don't be surprised if they try to say the Redskins are sniffing around a guy like Crabtree, another 49er that McCloughan drafted into the league. I don't think he's coming to Washington, but if anybody with any ties to Scot McCloughan, best believe our name is going to be mentioned, because right now he is gathering up all the guys that he trusts and believes in and feels like they have some good football in front of them. They aren't very old. They're young players that he feels like can still provide quality football for this franchise. And so look out for that. But to me, we're done in free agency. We're not going to make any more moves. And the only way that we will is if someone shakes free that fits what Scot McCloughan likes to do. And a guy like Deshaun Golston, another San Francisco 49er that he drafted into the National Football League could come available if the Buccaneers decide to part ways with him. Don't be surprised if we go sniffing around Deshaun Golson if he were able to shake free. But aside from that, don't really see the Redskins making many other moves out in free agency. I think the next order of business is the draft, and I think that's what they're turning their attention to right now as we speak. Setting up their draft boards, having private workouts, and doing a lot of scouting and figuring out what guys fit where, and if they get a chance, could they do this? And also, just a little tidbit, little side note, and we're gonna quickly talk about this and get out of here. Colt McCoy signs up for another year as a Washington Redskins quarterback, which leads me to believe somebody's not coming back, okay? This is the second year in a row we've had less than 5 wins, 7 wins in 2 years, same 3 quarterbacks. Somebody's not going to be around. I don't think you can come back into the season and feel really good about this group of quarterbacks as is, and these are the same 3 guys that essentially have gotten you 7 wins over the last 2 seasons. You can take Colt McCoy out, sub in Rex Grossman if you like, it doesn't really matter. It's the same crop of guys. Do you really want to go into the season with the same mess you had last year? Don't be surprised if Kirk Cousins gets traded draft night. I can see that one coming, and it would not surprise me in the least. That's going to do it for me. I am a Redskins fan, etched in burgundy and gold. My Redskins spirit will never die. My Redskins spirit will never, ever fold. Until we meet again, hail to our beloved Redskins. I will see you soon, come draft time. There's plenty more where that came from. While you're here, subscribe to the channel. If you want more Louie T, be sure to follow me on Twitter at InTheLabRoom, or you can like the Facebook page at In the Lab Room. That's In the Lab Room on Facebook and at In the Lab Room on Twitter. Don't forget, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already done so. The Redskins Report.